Reuters live service. This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters live service.
And you know, if it's Wednesday, it's all about politics 101. What a bombshell this past week. And in fact, let me begin the show by reading two tweets, actually an exchange of tweets between House Majority Leader Aden Duale and Chief Justice Dr. Willie Mutunga. So Honorable Duale gets on the tweet and says, now CJ can confirm that the Judiciary and Supreme Court in particular is full of graft. The CJ gets back on Twitter and replies, Honorable Duale, I can confirm the Judiciary will never reach the graft levels achieved by Parliament. That's how bad it's become. Yes, there were stories about graft and corruption in Parliament. Yes, the Judiciary has lots and lots of challenges, or rather the executive has lots and lots of challenges. And now this. Supreme Court Justice Philip Tunoy allegedly receiving a 200 million shilling bribe. And we say allegedly because a panel has just been convened to give a report in 7 days, but there's a lot of evidence in that affidavit given to the Chief Justice, Dr. Willie Mutunga, and that's why he convened that special session today. 200 million shillings, allegedly by Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero, to annul the petitions filed by then gubernatorial candidate Baba Yao Ferdinand Waititu. Wow, what a mess. What does this mean? Is the Judiciary at a crossroads? Is the country at a crossroads? The Chief Justice, by the way, resigns in, what, 4 or 5 months? What happens to the Supreme Court? What's the way forward? What's going to happen to Tunoy? Goodness gracious me, tonight, that's what we're going to discuss. On the far end, a man who knows the Constitution front to back and back to front. He's an also very accomplished businessman. And yes, he talks the law like it is. KK, they call him, Karanja Kabage, with a Twitter handle at Karanja Kabage. The man in the middle, the outgoing chairman of the Law Society of Kenya. He served 4 years, unprecedented, never happened before, but he's on his way out. They have elections sometime next month, but he has served the last 4 years as LSK chairman, Eric Mutua. His Twitter handle is at EK Mutua. That's what we're going to be discussing. That, we'll throw in some Eurobond at some point, and of course, our valiant, gallant soldiers memorial service held today in Eldoret, where President Uhuru Kenyatta was joined by Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari and the Somali president as well. We'll talk about that a little later. First, gentlemen, welcome to the show. Good to see you. Eric, first time on the show. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Good. Eric, you guys, what a mess. All I can say is, what a mess.
It's a very serious issue. It's a very serious issue, more serious than what most people are thinking. Because unless it is handled in a proper manner, then we are looking at a situation where the entire Supreme Court, and to some extent the entire judiciary, will be affected by what is going on now.
It is that bad?
It is very bad. It's a serious issue.
KK, is there overwhelming evidence against Justice Philip Tunoy? Is it overwhelming evidence? Or you know, because we have had people accusing other people. But would the Chief Justice come out and say what he said and do what he did if he didn't have overwhelming evidence?
Well, the jury is out. And let me put it this way. As President Eric has said of the LSK, we are dealing with a very difficult time as a country, because the judiciary is the last port of call for any country when it comes to a question of dispute. And we expect the judiciary to be like Caesar's wife, above reproach. The allegations that have been made against a very senior justice of the Supreme Court is itself very unfortunate, extremely unfortunate. As of now, we cannot conclusively determine that whatever has been alleged is true, because the process has started. And we have to give it time. I'm a very strong believer in what is called the due process and the rule of law. But having said that, one can say that for the Chief Justice to have summoned the Judicial Service Commission and in its wisdom determining that there is need to constitute a subcommittee of the JSC to look at the allegations, I think one can say it is not a matter that is light.
Yeah, Eric,
Yes.
help me out here. Help me out here real
Yeah.
quick. We go back to the judgment that was ruled against Waitito, or was thrown out.
Yes.
We asked the one question: who wrote that judgment? It wasn't Tunoi.
No, it wasn't.
It was
but I
Smoky
understand-
Wanjala.
Yes, it was Wanjala.
Smoky
yes.
Wanjala
Yes,
wrote
yes.
the judgment.
But it doesn't matter. What matters is the judges. Basically, what happens at the Supreme Court is that there's a conference where the judges will discuss what is the likely outcome of this petition or this case. After the discussion, then they would probably have one volunteer to write the judgment, or they would indicate that so and so ought to write the judgment. So the fact that it is Smoky Wanjala, Honorable Justice Smoky Wanjala, who wrote the judgment, does not really in itself exonerate the Honorable Justice Tunoi from any blame, if at all there's going to be evidence that this man was paid to the judge,
Yeah.
or it was given to the judge.
Yeah, but could money paid to one judge affect the whole outcome?
Yes, yes.
Just one judge.
No. One judge will not be able to determine the outcome of a case at the Supreme Court. At least if it is a 7th bench, as in this case, then you must have in your corner at least 4 judges.
Right.
So if there is going to be any proof that indeed this money was given out or this bribe was given out, then the consequence or the interpretation would be that this money was distributed or shared among at least 4 judges. That is why I say it is very serious. It is not a question of just the Honorable Justice Tunoi. In the event that there is now evidence that indeed the money was given out, then the other judges affected.
Are you saying there could be other judges, Eric?
Yes.
There could be others in the Supreme Court.
You can't take a sum of 200 million and tell the person who is giving the money that I'll be able to give you a decision in your favor, because you can't determine that that case alone. You must have at least 3 more to make it 4 against 3.
Yes.
So if it is going to be proved that indeed the money was given as a bribe, then there will be investigations as to who else was involved, which other judge was involved.
KK, could other judges in the Supreme Court be complicit in this?
Well, first of all, I think it was a 5-bench judge that made a determination. It was not the seven of them. You see, as of now, we are very much in the dark.
But the affidavit is
the-
damning,
the-
KK.
the affidavit is damning.
The NIS report is
Yeah.
damning.
Yeah, okay. The affidavit and the NIS may be damning. The saving grace in this matter is when you're dealing with mobile phones, a lot of Kenyans may be unaware of the fact that the capacity of what they call spectrum management system to track down you where you are at any one time, it is 110% correct. Your mobile, whether you are switched it off or whatever it is, it can be traced. And in this particular aspect, if there was communication between the alleged gentleman, the likelihood of clotting the movement of the parties, it is 110%.
Yeah. Eric,
Yeah.
when Tunoi says that this is a witch hunt, that these people want to get rid of me before next year's election, where is it? Are these desperate tactics?
Well, subject to the investigation, to the results of the investigation, having read that affidavit, I've read that affidavit. I don't think one can outrightly say that it is frivolous. You cannot say that it doesn't raise issues. In my opinion, although I'm not an investigator, but when I look at that affidavit, because it mentions telephone numbers, places, time, if you can get data from Safaricom, it is very easy to confirm whether what this gentleman says under oath is true or not. And for me, I don't think there's any politics of succession in this kind of allegation. What we should wait for is, let's wait for the subcommittee to investigate the matter, ask the judge to respond to the allegations, then they will take their report to the entire Judicial Service Commission, and the commission will make a determination whether there is adequate ground to advise the president to constitute a tribunal for that investigation as to the suitability of the Honorable Justice Tunoi. But let me say this. In event that there is evidence that this money was actually given out, then the way forward would be to have, at the moment, the way forward would be to have the entire Supreme Court reconstituted. There's no shortcut about
Every
it.
one of them.
Every one of them. The reason is this: we are heading to an election in 2017, and I don't think with this kind of allegation, if proved right, with this kind of allegation, I don't think Kenyans would have confidence and agree that this bench or these judges at the Supreme Court are the ones to come and determine any dispute, any possible dispute after the 2017 presidential elections.
KK, do you agree? Reconstitute the entire Supreme Court?
You see, in our system today, we have three arms of government. We have the executive branch of government, headed by the president, and we have the legislative branch of government, headed by two speakers, the Speaker of the Senate and the Speaker of the National Assembly. The next branch, which is very, very critical, is the judiciary. It's headed by Justice Mutunga. Now, Mutunga is heading towards retirement. That is in the next few months. The Deputy Chief Justice ought to have gone by now, because the thing is, she was reaching age 70.
Yep.
I think this month. Now, so you have two judges automatically who are going to be out. Assuming that the matter that is in court today regarding the argument of retirement at either age 70 or 75 is
74.
74 is determined in favor of the Justice Rawal.
Yeah.
Now, if it is not determined in her favor, then she's out. So you have 5 judges remaining. Now, if the 5 judges remaining, they happen to have been on the bench that determined the petition in favor of Dr. Kidero, and assuming that these investigations are carried through and there is a prima facie case, and the Chief Justice and his JSC determines that this matter has reached the threshold to recommend to the president for the investigations, or rather
Tribunal.
The tribunal to be set up to investigate that judge. And eventually that tribunal comes up with the verdict that he is culpable. It is highly unlikely for the general population of this country to be persuaded that Justice Tunui was the only one who may have partaken in whatever is being alleged.
Eric, I have to ask you this question before we go to bed. Okay, you want to come in? Go ahead.
No, I wanted to say this. The country should understand that the process of constituting the tribunal and making a determination can take a while. It's not something which is going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
Therefore, I think once the Judicial Service Commission has decided that the president ought to constitute a tribunal, I think the country should now start thinking of a situation where the judges can be either requested or some negotiations can be commenced, where we are saying that for the sake of the country, for the sake of maintaining the integrity of the Supreme Court, then it is necessary that we start thinking of a change of guards. Yes.
Real quick before we go to break, are you ashamed, Derek, today? Are you ashamed to be in the judiciary?
Well, subject to the outcome of investigations, I think as a lawyer, I would say that I'm not comfortable with the scenario as it is now, but subject to what is going to happen after the
in a week's time.
Yes.
In 1 week's time.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, so there was talk that Smoking Wanjala was going to be the next Chief Justice. Is that out of the window now? Is that finished?
Well, depending on the outcome of the investigations, I think that is going to affect the judge, Justice Smoking Wanjala. It's going to affect him in a major way.
Yeah.
Because you cannot be a contender for the position of the Chief Justice when this kind of allegations are flying around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll no longer be smoking. I just had to say that. Gentlemen, let's take a quick break, come back. We'll talk a bit about that, and then let's switch a bit to the Eurobond. What is this Eurobond madness? I am so confused after reading all those articles. I'm confused. Where's the money, KK? Where's $1 billion?
Okay.
And also, our soldiers. Gotta pay tribute. Gotta pay tribute. All right. Keep tweeting at Karanja Kabage, at EK Mutua, at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag, as always, Politics 101. And we are tackling what must be the biggest scandal in the judiciary in Kenyan history. An alleged bribe of more than $200 million. Shillings. $2 million, 200 million shillings, allegedly given to a Supreme Court justice to nullify an election petition. Wow! You cannot make this stuff up. Jeff Koinange live at the Villa Rosa Kempinski takes a quick break. We'll be back in a moment.